I decided that that there would be more integrity and more satisfaction writing for human beings without toy companies, and so I started writing spec scripts at night. After everybody went home, I'd sit there in my office at Marvel. I went from DIC to Marvel Animation at one point, and I wrote a spec script for the Golden Girls, which I loved. I just loved the show. I thought that it was brilliant. And I wrote a spec script for Miami Vice, which was in its first season. And I thought, and that was terrific. And Michael Mann, it changed the whole look of television, the colors and the film quality, you know, the music. It was pretty exciting, the initial idea of it. And they had even tried to bring back Twilight Zone in the 80s. And I wrote a Twilight Zone story, a script that, so I was prepared to enter any door that would open. You know, another reason why having small children was a big part of my story, because I was going to, you know, take care of them, and hopefully if I got into prime time, join the Writers Guild and get health insurance. I had a fellow who was a very successful animation writer, friend of mine, named Jeffrey Scott. And Jeffrey lived next door. How successful was Jeffrey? He lived next door to Betty White. Okay, you know, I was living in a little condo in Glendale. I'm sorry, condo. Let's call it what it was. It was a rented house. And he said, if I like the script, I'll give it to Betty. So I wrote a script that featured her character. I'm not an idiot, right? So, you know, so I wrote a script that was pretty much came out of something I experienced when my dad passed away, which was that my mother was very angry with him for passing away because she was frightened about being alone. And I was really struck by the anger as a response to losing your mate. Almost, you know, to the point where it overwhelmed the grief. And I wrote a script that featured Betty's character where she was struggling with feelings of anger towards her deceased husband because she felt he abandoned her. And so it was really a personal script for me. And I gave it to Jeffrey, and he approved of it. And he gave it to Betty. And I got a handwritten note, I don't know when, within a week or so, from Betty White. I wish I could find it, saying that she loved the script and she was bringing it to the producers of the show. And I remember thinking, well, that's it. My career has begun. I've hit the big time. You know, alert the media. I've arrived. I had no idea what it would have meant to the producers to have an actor on your show walk in and put a script on your desk from somebody who knows who and say, I want to do this, I think this is good. The look on their faces, the horror that they must have felt. I know if I was in their position, now having been in that position, now I understand it. At the time, I just thought, well, Betty will go in, she'll give the script to the producers, and they'll be thrilled because they'll see how wonderful it is. Anyway, it came back to me at some point from the producers of the show with a form letter saying it was not up to their standards. Thank you for your submission and good luck. So essentially it came back with a toe tag, you know. And I was heartbroken. But it did open up other doors, not Golden Girls though. And actually the Miami Vice script got me into Miami Vice. It got me a meeting at Miami Vice where they sat down and said, we like your script very much. Unfortunately, it's funny. And we're troubled by that. I went, well, do a funny episode. Hello? Well, you know, humor is acceptable. And they went, no, we're not going to do a funny episode. I said, all right, I'll take the funny out. I mean, I just want to work. I could probably get it to be not funny. I don't think it's going to be tough. You know. So yeah, if that door had opened, I probably would have had a very mediocre career as a drama writer, you know, as an action, cop shoot 'em up writer. But it didn't. The door did not open.